CTV News with Caroline Van Vlartigan.
Good evening. 2 boys are injured tonight, one of them seriously after being caught in a kitchen fire in Montreal North. A 9-year-old boy suffered severe injuries and police report he is not out of danger. Another 13-year-old boy in the building was also injured, but his life is not in danger. Police say the fire in a 3-story residential building near Lacordaire and Renoir Streets is believed to have started at around 4 o'clock this afternoon on a kitchen stove and was likely accidental. Neighboring units had to be evacuated, but those residents have now returned home. A decisive step has been taken by the city towards the Cavendish extension. The city has voted to expropriate the required land to move the project forward. It means 3 parcels of land in the town of Montreal will be acquired through expropriation to connect Royal Mount to Dalton Road, Cavendish in Saint Laurent. The land near the intersection of the Cavendish Boulevard and Dalton Road had been frozen but remained inaccessible for acquisition under the previous city administration, which had promised to create the extension when it acquired the Hippodrome land from Quebec.
This is absolutely a decisive step. We're saying actually it's the first step in a decades-old process, which under the last administration clearly went nowhere despite numerous promises, but this time things are starting to move.
And Lechner says while there is still a long way to go, the extension will eventually eliminate traffic congestion at Jean Talon and Décarie for cars, public transit, and public security. Well, it has been a week now since Montreal's police chief revealed allegations of racism within his own force. And Montreal's mayor is now proposing a measure to make the racialized community in Montreal feel at ease among all the unrest. Here's Olivia O'Malley.
Montreal's mayor says her husband, who is black, has been randomly stopped by police while driving on multiple occasions.
I mean, like many other black people and other people in the city and the racialized people, this happens too many times.
She's asking for a moratorium on random police checks. The call comes 1 week after a rare late-night news conference by the Montreal police chief. Fadi Deguerre revealed the Montreal North Patrol Unit has been disbanded over racism allegations. 2 officers have been suspended, 14 others reassigned. Martinez Ferrata says a moratorium would be a good first step to repair relations with a community that is outraged.
I think we have to ask ourselves a question. I think it is also a way to rebuild the trust with citizens, and it's something that I think the police should be looking into.
She wants to see officers equipped with body cameras. There is already $40 million in the city budget for it, but the province still needs to approve.
This will not solve the problem. This is one tool that we have in our toolbox, but it's not the whole thing.
Les gestes qui ont été posés sont totalement inadmissibles.
The premier says the officers' actions were unacceptable. According to media reports, they ripped out or cut off people's dreadlocks and collected them like trophies. There are calls for an independent public inquiry. Christine Frechette has not ruled it out, but says the province would assign an observer to the police investigation.
We want to see the results of that inquiry before identifying the next steps, but I'd say that everything is on the table so far, but we need to first see the results of the current actions.
Montreal Police was supposed to present its annual report on Monday, but it's been postponed. Instead, Montreal is summoning its police chief to a closed-door meeting to discuss the allegations of racism within his own force. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
And late this afternoon, the city announced that it is delaying a meeting with residents where they will get a chance to ask the Montreal police about these allegations at a public meeting. That will be delayed until July 8th. The founder of the Red Coalition, though, says he understands that they are likely delaying because they have a lot of new information to deal with, but he wonders if this instills public confidence.
It's a lot to digest, but then at the same time, it's extremely important that the public knows what's going on, because otherwise everybody's going to fall, the whole thing is going to fall into the norm, which I would hope the city and the SPVM are trying to get away from. So again, it's all with, public trust. It needs to start now.
In the meantime, he confirms that some black officers are afraid to be caught in a witch hunt as the city and force tries to get to the bottom of what happened. Well, for the second year in a row now, Montreal police are solving more murders at an above-average rate. Major Crimes Commander Melanie Dufour says technology and cooperation from the public has helped officers act quickly to find suspects.
I remember cases I had and my teams, and we have more than 100 cameras on site where the murder happened. So we see everything. We can follow the person, the murderer, with the camera. So that's kind of thing very, very helpful for us. And with the other people, they collaborate with us. The store, when we go to the store or when we go knock on the door of the people who have the camera, they collaborate with us. So that's very helpful because it's with that, it making us to arrest the person with that.
The SPVM says the rise in murder clearance rates is similar now to other major cities. Well, Quebec is launching a pilot project to get people out of more emergency rooms. Health Minister Sonia Bélanger and Premier Christine Fréchette were in Joliette today to say people in the Laurentians will soon be able to access a virtual waiting room. The idea is that people arriving at the ER with a minor ailment like a sprained ankle or a sore throat would be able to go home and get notified when to come back and see a doctor. The goal is to cut down on having people sit for hours in hospital waiting rooms. A Beauharnois woman is the first in Canada to undergo surgery to protect her ability to have children while she was being treated for cancer. A surgeon at the MUHC moved Brittany Fecteau's uterus, ovaries, and fallopian tubes higher up in her torso so that radiation therapy on her pelvis wouldn't damage those organs. And once the radiation treatment was finished, a second operation put the organs back in their usual place.
Very important for Canada because we are bringing some way more hope to the patients regarding their fertility. I think it's important because you also show all this desire to improve patients' quality of life. It's not just about treating cancer. We want to see the patients as a whole and bring them back to a normal life. That's very important.
And Dr. Ribeiro says his surgery offers new hope for young patients, especially since cancer rates are rising. And there's more on this patient and on our story on our ctvmontreal.ca website. Some residents in Old Montreal say pedestrian safety is being put at risk by drivers ignoring traffic restrictions, and they're calling for better enforcement and for the city to take action. Here's Laurence Bisson-Dubreuil.
On a summer day, thousands of people fill Place d'Armes, but some residents say it's also becoming increasingly dangerous. Longtime Old Montreal resident John Kennedy says he regularly sees vehicles take streets they aren't supposed to use.
There's been so many close calls, and it's actually kind of frightening.
He says some drivers ignore traffic restrictions around the square. The east side is closed to most vehicles, while the west side is reserved for authorized ones only.
For 2 years, we've been begging the police to come and do some blitzes just to get the word out that people are watching and that there is some enforcement.
He says city officials discussed adding granite blocks around the square at a public meeting in March. But 4 months later, nothing has changed. Transportation planning expert Pierre Barriot says the design of Place d'Armes may be part of the problem. The plaza and roadway sit at nearly the same level, making it easy for drivers to misread the space.
Was this a deliberate act of saying we don't want to put measures because we want to say we are free, we are open, we are safe? Many cities in Europe have done that. However, we just have to look at the practicality of it.
He notes vehicular attacks have become a growing concern in public spaces around the world, and that's what worries Kennedy.
It's going to take an incident for the city or the police or somebody to wake up and say, we need to address this.
Barrios says the square can be made safer without losing what makes it attractive.
We did something that's beautiful. We've looked at it. Humans work a certain way. And now let's just slightly tweak it to make it an even better place and an even safer place.
We reached out to the City of Montreal for comment, but did not receive a response in time for broadcast. Laurence Bisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
Residents in a Lachine condo building have been living without hot or potable water for nearly 2 months now. And it may even take much longer before the situation changes, as Denise Roberts explains.
Since May 1st, everyday tasks like washing hair or filling up the cat's water dish have changed for Amanda Savoy and her wife, Alana Spagnolo.
It's something that you don't realize impacts so many facets of your life until you lack the service. Then it's just all consuming.
CTV first met the couple weeks after 2 pipes in their building collapsed.
I opened the door, and that's when I saw just so much water just pouring down,
leaving residents without hot or potable water while repairs were in progress. 1 month later, Savoy says nothing's changed.
The most recent communication we got was advising us not to use our dishwasher.
When they need hot water, they have 2 kettles on the go. But as time stretches on, they've both become accustomed to cold showers.
It's very sad we're getting used to this, but it's not something that we want to deal with anymore.
They say what makes it worse is there's no end in sight.
I think a lot of the residents are losing faith that there's going to be a clear timeline and an actual solution.
In an email, the building's property manager told CTV News repair work revealed deeper issues with the original installation of the water distribution system. And as a result, the Condo Owners Association is retaining legal counsel and experts to assess the situation. They are trying to resolve the situation as quickly as possible and keep owners informed regularly. As renters, the couple says they don't have the energy to move and they otherwise love where they live.
We've lived here for 4 years, and I think we speak to a lot of people now. And I think all of our biggest concerns is just how are you going to compensate us for what we have dealt with?
In the meantime, they're keeping water bottle receipts and their patience for a little longer. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
The Old Brewery Mission has opened a rehousing facility in Montreal's Sud-West borough. The building provides permanent housing for people trying to transition out of homelessness. There are 18 studio apartments, each equipped with a kitchen and a bathroom. The ground floor is occupied by a Renaissance donation center and thrift store.
Started with the requirement that we have a tenant here, and the desire to work with an organization that shares our vision and our values. And so what a beautiful marriage to have Renaissance here with the Centre de Don and the housing program, rehousing program in the same facility.
And the mission says residents will receive ongoing support from the housing team and will also have access to programs that foster autonomy, social inclusion, and well-being. A West Island man says his life was saved by a stem cell transplant by his son. And now the whole family is urging others in their community to donate. Matt Gilmore has more.
In 2023, Rick Scalzo was diagnosed with an aggressive form of blood cancer. After months of chemo, the cancer went into remission. But a year later, it was back. And this time, he would need a stem cell transplant.
They could keep putting me in remission, which means chemo all the time, but it wouldn't cure me.
The search was on for a potential donor anywhere in the world with a 100% match. But when no one was found, doctors turned to Rick's son, Antoine, a 50% match.
Well, as soon as I got the call, it was immediately I said yes. It's definitely a very rewarding feeling, like you're saving a life, no matter if it's your parent or anyone in the world.
Antoine says the process was straightforward. 1 injection per day for the 5 days leading up to the donation to extract as many stem cells from his bone marrow as possible. Then the procedure.
It's just like giving blood. I get a needle in my arm, which extracts my blood into the machine, which will separate what they need, and then the blood comes back into the other arm. And it's 5.5 hours roughly, and then he receives it the very next day.
It's been 18 months since the transplant, and Rick's cancer is still in remission.
The 2-year mark is another mark where if you pass it without complications or the leukemia coming back, you're just about good to go.
Rick isn't getting ahead of himself just yet. but is a proud and grateful father.
It's a life-changing event, and your son is involved. You know, like saving you from drowning kind of thing. Because you're going under. You need stem cells. And this is what did it. So coming from him, pretty neat.
Over the past 3 years, Rick has also received 13 blood transfusions and 29 bags of platelets. The experience has motivated the entire family to start giving back. Rick's daughter, Felicia, now organizes blood drives for Emma Quebec in Kirkland.
We have the opportunity to do something so great. I know a lot of young people could be watching this as well. So this is just me telling you that it takes like 5 minutes to donate blood, and it literally saves 3 lives at a time.
And can keep a family whole. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
When we come back, a new Toy Story and a dark Robin Hood. That's when we return. A bit of a rainy looking weekend ahead, so it might be a good time to take in a movie. Here to give us some indoor and outdoor options for your weekend is Chris Bumbry of JoeBlow.com. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Caroline.
So I hear Toy Story 5 is out. I think I missed a couple of them, but let's take a quick look and then I want to hear your thoughts.
Halt! Who goes there? Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
It's been too long, cowboy.
What are you, some sort of old man toy?
What?
She thinks you're old because you're bald, Woody.
Okay, I love these films, and this looks good, but what's the story here, Chris, and does it work?
So this is all about the fear of technology. Interesting thing, the first Toy Story came out in 1995. That was 31 years ago. So you imagine that the kids who went to see the movie originally probably have children of their own at this point and are probably dealing with, I think, a problem that a lot of parents are faced with, that their kids are spending so much time on screens and really kind of coming of age too fast. And that's kind of what the movie's about, because the child that the toys take care of in this, she gets this tablet called LilyPad that starts to take over her life. And the movie strikes a really interesting balance. It talks about, you know, how kids do need to make friends and socialize and kind of play with their toys and have their imaginations run wild, kind of like they used to, but also that technology in its own way is important too. So I thought it was quite thoughtful and really well done. Probably my favorite Pixar movie in the last couple of years, that's for sure.
Wow, that's a really good endorsement. And the LilyPad, by the way, was out when my kids were small, so in a sense, it's nostalgic too. Speaking of nostalgia, The Death of Robin Hood is a new movie with Hugh Jackman, but I'm understanding this is not for kids.
Oh, certainly not, no. So this is a very dark, cerebral take on Robin Hood. Imagine if Robin Hood was real and, let's say, he wasn't the guy who wore green tights in the forest slinging bow and arrows. No, he's a villain in this movie and a pretty rough guy. And Hugh Jackman, one of his best roles in a while. Similar in some ways to Logan, but definitely a lot more grounded. So in this, Robin Hood is wounded and he's taken in by this nun played by Jodie Comer and kind of has to reckon with his violent past. So as you can see from the trailer there, it is a dark movie, definitely not for kids. I, on the other hand, thought it was terrific, but if you're looking for lighthearted fare, this is definitely not the one for you.
Okay, and on the theme of dark, the Black Mirror experience, this is a takeoff on the sitcom, I'm gathering, but it's a VR experience?
Yeah, no, the dark drama from Netflix.
Well, not sitcom, drama, yeah.
But it is crazy. So basically, you go to the Montreal Science Center, they give you this huge VR helmet with these things to put over your ears, and it's almost like sensory deprivation. You end up in this digital world where they make this kind of avatar of yourself, and mine looked exactly like me and even sounded like me too, and it kind of takes over your life, starts to do these little tasks. They ask you to do these manual drills, and they create the perfect clone of you, and it is absolutely insane. It lasts for about an hour. When I took off my helmet, I truly felt like I was stepping into another world. It really kind of throws you for a loop, but it's at the Montreal Science Center. It's on more or less all summer long. You have to book your slot in advance, but they have openings every 15 minutes, and it's really worth checking out. And, you know, probably not for little kids, but I think teenagers would probably enjoy it.
Yeah, it sounds kind of freaky, actually. And speaking of down-to-earth things, or looking at down-to-earth things, the Festival sur le Canal is back.
Yeah, you know, the Lachine Canal is always beautiful. There's all kinds of vendors, there's restaurants, there's bands playing all weekend long. So if you have a dog, welcome. They need to be on a leash. The dogs always enjoy this one, though. And rain or shine, so no matter what the weather is, it's going to be happening.
And same thing for the Wellington Street Festival, which starts this weekend, right?
It does. It starts this weekend. It goes all the way until Labor Day. So Wellington Street is completely closed down to traffic until the end of the summertime. And, you know, Wellington Street has really come alive in recent years. It was recently voted one of the greatest streets in Canada. And I think it's a great place to go for restaurants, bars, cultures. There's bands playing. You know, Wellington Street, to me, is a delight. I can't wait to be down there for most of the summer, actually. So if you're around Wellington Street and you see me on the street, make sure to come up to me and say hi.
All right, you and the hipsters. Thanks so much, Chris.
I won't be wearing my blazer.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
Well, the summer solstice is on Sunday, but the forecast still doesn't seem to know that. Here's Christine Long.
So far, it's been a tough season for Gulf Dorval.
It's wet all over and windy.
Vice President Edgar Rouleau says the course was closed yesterday due to weather.
On a regular day, we'll probably make about $10,000 in green fees, cart rental, and purchase at the pro shop.
Each closure costs them a lot of money, and the closures are adding up.
We always calculate in a year that we're going to lose about 10 days in a year. But right now, we're like probably past the 10 days that we had bad days. But
the weather forecast for Father's Day weekend isn't looking much better, says meteorologist Simon Legault.
The weekend, again, we'll see some risk of precipitation. And that's I would say, the whole forecast that we can give for the next week.
With that kind of forecast, people aren't showing up at outdoor pools. Anthony Stock says, despite being heated, Surrey Pool in Dorval North is quiet.
The temperature of the pool is about 28 degrees. We're one of the few outdoor pools in the West Island that has outdoor heating at our outdoor pools, so we encourage all our clients to come and use the facility, rain or shine, hot or cold.
Sonia Barnes-Huggins says she considers safety before putting on her swimsuit.
Because the minute there's rain, there could be lightning, and then you get there and they say out of the pool. If the weather stops you, it's a drag.
Back at Gulf Dorval, some folks aren't worried about the weather.
It was a little soggy, a little windy, but it was good.
You get out of bed, you look at the street, and if it's wet, you make a decision, and if you have any guts, you come out and play.
I mean, a little rain never hurt no one.
A good attitude to have, especially when looking at the long-term forecast.
We are not going into a full week of rain and not into a full week of sunshine and very fair days. So it's going to be on and off like we've had in the past days.
You could say this weather is for the ducks. Christine Long, CTV News.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, it was another gloomy June day, but at least that helps to make things a bit easier for allergy season. We had a temperature of 18 degrees in the Montreal area, and we didn't make it up that much higher than that. So our expected high was sitting at 19. We typically see closer to 24, but it's hard to complain looking at our record low. In 1946, we hit a low of 7.2 degrees. So the good news is we are expecting warmer weather than that for tonight. So forecasting a low of 15 degrees along with a few showers. Also seeing another thunderstorm risk. Heading into tomorrow, though, forecasting mostly cloudy skies, so a peak of sunshine before we potentially see some more showers in the afternoon. So our expected high is sitting at 21 degrees for Saturday, but once again, that would be along with another thunderstorm risk. And our futurecast is showing us that story in more detail. We see showers for much of southern Quebec at around midnight before those showers move over toward the east, and that mix of a bit of everything comes in time for late Saturday. So how much rain are we looking at? Well, pretty light, so roughly 3 millimeters are forecasted for Saturday. On Sunday, we could get another 5, seeing yet another possible thunderstorm risk to end the weekend, so you'll want to keep that in mind. But there's good news to start the week. It's looking like that's when we could return to some sunshine with a mix of showers as well, and we'll have that return to more more seasonal looking at daytime highs as well.
And we will have live FIFA coverage tomorrow on CTV, so you can watch ctvnewsmontreal.ca right at 6 o'clock for the news or listen on CJD 800. And that wraps it up for us. For the latest news, you can listen to the Joanne Vracas Show tomorrow morning at 6. And of course, you can always head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca for more. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.